Hi there, my name is Dr. Naidoo, and welcome to Thinking It Through with Dr. Naidoo, Child Psychiatrist. I am so excited to share with you that today, on this Fix It Friday, I am starting not just my next version of Fix It Friday, but I'm also going to start my YouTube channel. So welcome to my YouTube channel. Do check it out because what I'll be doing is posting these recordings of my podcast. The visual of it I'll be posting on YouTube, so you can find me there and see my face as I'm talking through some things. So I hope that that will also spread the message and reach a different audience so that I can share this knowledge and awareness and ability to think through to help you, the parent and the child, figure out the best mental health care possible for you. So what I do is that on Fridays, I do have a Fix It Friday episode where I talk about my parenting blunders, as you may know, and how I can learn from them because I want to be a better parent. Also, very excited to introduce to you as well, I do now have my website up and running, my company called Do Better MD, which is really to provide information about how young people and parents in the mental health care space can really learn how to know better and then do better. My current kind of goal with Do Better MD is really to work on suicide prevention in youth. As you may know, the most recent CDC youth behavior risk survey from 2021, the first data that came out post-COVID, has shown increasing rates of suicidal thinking and depression, particularly among young teenage females. So my goal with Do Better MD is really to help educate the public and give a space to help learn more about how parents can be empowered to prevent suicide in their youth. So please also do check that out at www.dobettermd.com. And you can find out more information about suicide prevention there. So in this Fix It Friday, I'm going to talk about barnacles. So my son Dylan and Gavin and I and my husband traveled to Rocky Point, Puerto Penasco, Mexico this past spring break. For most people who live in Arizona, Puerto Penasco is kind of our beach that we go to, and it was the first time that we've ever been there. So we reached the beach around maybe 6 o'clock for the first day. And I really, living in the desert, wanted to see the sunset. So when we got out of the car, the boys and I went onto the beach to try to catch the sunset. And there was a lot of sand, beautiful, soft sand. So we're walking along, and we took off our shoes to get to see the sunset set on the water. So as we were walking without shoes, Gavin and I, my older son, who's 7, kind of raced along, got through to hit the water, which was a little chilly, but we're so excited to get there. We looked behind and I saw Dylan, and Dylan had stopped several feet behind us and was crying and calling. So I went back to find out what was happening. And in the process, with the low tide, there were pools of water, and there was a little bit of algae and sea growth, and I think barnacles also. So he had said, "Mom, there's something itchy on my feet. I really don't want to cross this water." And there were several barnacles that were rough on your feet as you crossed. And I noticed for myself that I was getting really upset because I wanted to catch the sunset. The last rays were going down and I was going to miss it because I was addressing Dylan and his concerns. And I did want him to also get there as well. So as we were crossing, I had been picking him up, putting him down, picking him up, putting him down throughout that entire time. So I kind of got frustrated and left him with the barnacles, which was not the best thing. So here I am in Fix It Friday talking about it and what I could have done better and how we got through it, because we did get through it. So what I recognized in that moment was that my agenda, my desire to see the sunset, was more important than attending to my child and their needs, right? And they were relatively safe, but I think I was feeling a lot of internal pressure because I really wanted to catch this special moment. And my other son, Gavin, was also there, and he was ready and able to. So I wanted to be there with him. So I felt a little bit torn. And I got a little frustrated that Dylan was whining, and I had already picked him up and put him down several times. And, that he could have just walked across, right? Like we all did. You can do it too. I know you're 5, but you can do it. So I kind of had that mentality at that time. So what could I have done to fix it? What did we do to actually fix it? I stood there with Gavin on the side of the pool of water while Dylan was crying and getting a little bit upset. I said, Gavin, you just wait here and you take in the sunset for me because I'm going to go back and get your brother. So Gavin was brave because he didn't want to be by himself either, but he stood there and looked at the sunset. So I went back to Dylan and I leaned down at eye level and said, Dylan, what's wrong? And Dylan said, I don't like the feeling on my feet. It's really rough. I want you to carry me. I said, Dylan, let's touch it and see what it is. So he looked down, he saw the barnacles. He didn't want to touch it. So I touched it. I said, okay, it's really rough. It's a little scratchy. I think you can handle it. He said, no, Mom, it's going to cut my feet. I don't want to do it. So I said, okay, well, why don't you gently put your foot on it and see how it goes? Put his foot in it. He didn't like it again. So I said, okay, I can't carry you. So I'm going to give you your shoes to put back on. That means it might be a little hard to walk because it's wet here, but you can try. So he put his shoes on and walked over it, kind of ran really quickly. And then his shoes started filling with water. So he got annoyed with that. But I said, okay, well, your shoes are filled with water, but if you want to come join us, you have to keep going. So I said, okay, Mom. Walked past the barnacles, walked through the water, walked into the sand, and came to join us. By that time, the sun had already set, so I was a little disappointed with that, but the sky was full of color, and both boys were with me, and we got through it. And on the way back, we had to pass through the barnacles again. But this time he had his shoes on, and yes, they were wet. But what was interesting is that as we passed by them again to get back to the hotel, he said, Mom, you know, the barnacles are really disgusting, but they're not so bad. I said, yeah, Dylan, you can do hard things. Sometimes you need to put your shoes on. Sometimes you take some more time, but you will get there. So we got through the barnacles, but for the rest of the weekend, he was really kind of nervous about walking on the sand and touching the barnacles with his feet. But that was okay. We were prepared. We were able to walk around them or use his shoes when we needed to. So I think the thing that I learned about barnacles and Mexico was that as a parent, sometimes when I have my own agenda, I may have to, or my own priority, or my own goals, I may have to adapt them when my child needs something. And that may be a little bit frustrating for me, but I'm an adult and I can put that to the side and try to meet my child when they need to. The other thing is that I also learned that for him, he may be more sensitive to textures and touch than my older son, and that's okay. And he may need a little bit more coaching to get through tough things, but he can get through them with my support. And I also learned that I can still set a boundary, like not wanting to pick him up all the time and walking on the sand, which is kind of hard, right? Baby on the sand walking around. He's not a baby, he's 5, so it was a little heavy. That it's okay for me to set a boundary of not wanting to pick him up, and I can still get him through the tough stuff. I just need to find another way, and it might take a little bit more time, and it may mean that I miss out on the sunset. But that is my Fix It Friday to kind of reflect on how I can continue to work on becoming a better parent with my children. I know that you're here because you also want to do a better job with your child. And remember, no matter how frustrated, confused, overwhelmed, or uninformed you feel, I know that you are smart enough, brave enough, resourceful enough, good enough to do something about it. That's why you're here, right? So on this episode of Fix It Friday Barnacles, I talked about how I got my 5-year-old and myself to reflect on how to do the hard things and get through rough waters to finally walk into the sunset. I'm so excited to start this new chapter of my podcast where you get to see the video of it on YouTube. I hope that that will be really exciting and interesting and engaging in a different way than just hearing the audio. And I'm so excited that you'll be joining me on this part of my journey. I look forward to thinking with you soon. Take care.